Hi, good morning. Welcome to another lecture of the Home Care Assistant Training. My name is Prince Asando Mensah, and this week we are going to understand the human body. We have introduced ourselves to home care. We have also understand some of the ethics, some of the things we shouldn't do whilst we are on the field, and some of the things we should do. This week we are going to look at the human body, because one of the things we are going to use, the things we are going to look at or cater for, is the human body. So we need to understand it. We are going to look at the external, the internal, what makes us who we are, what's actually going through us when we are talking, when we are eating, when you are whatever you do as a human being. We are going to understand it today, and we are going to use 2 weeks to understand the human body. Even though we are using 2 weeks, it's still going to be brief, because there's a lot of things to learn about the human body. It's a complex structure. In this very lecture, we are going to look at cells, tissues, and organs. Cells, tissues, and organs. So this is a picture of the human body. You could see that this is the external human body part. The hair is there, the ear is there, the neck is there, the shoulder, the armpit, the elbow, the forearm, back, the back, small, the hip, buttocks, thigh, calf, heel, arc of the foot, bale of the foot, ankle, foot, sole, big toe, toenail, instep, shin, knee, groin, waist, navel, stomach, nipple, arm, and head. So basically, this is the external human body part. When you look at someone standing before you, this is what you see. This is what you see, the external human body part. And this actually talk about we using layman's term. When you talk about anatomy, you may be coming across some few technical words which you may meet some, but as much as possible we may use words that we all understand, the everyday parts of the body. And let's look at also the internal organs. So you see that I have my brain there. There's a brain. You have the lymph nodes, the lungs. Please, if you don't understand it, don't worry, we're going to talk about it in details. I want to show you that. I just want you to understand that aside the external body part, we also have the internal body part. So the brain, lymph nodes, lungs is here, the spleen is also there, bone marrow, stomach is also there, veins, our veins where the blood pass, the pancreas which work on food, and also work on food, is also the urinary bladder where urine is stored and later come out from our genitals. And you have the intestines where food pass through, so we bring it out through, or we poo it out. We have the skeleton, that's our bones. We have the kidneys that screen the blood for urine. You have the gallbladder that also work on food. We have the liver, we have the muscles, the arteries, the heart is also that pumps blood, the larynx, and the pharynx, our voice box, and our throat. So these are internal body parts. So if you look at the human body, you have the external body part and you have the internal body part. So inside us, there are so many things in there we are not seeing, but they are doing a great job. So this also talk about the internal body part. So it's a bit clearer. It shows the anus, the bladder we've mentioned, the small intestines, the large intestines, the pancreas, the spleen, stomach, capillaries, that's small blood vessels. We have the lung that help us to breathe. We have the gullet or the esophagus. We have the tonsils. We have the spinal cord. We have the brain, the uvula, the pharynx, the larynx, the windpipe, trachea. We have the bronchial tube. We have the heart, the liver, the bowel, the kidney, the gallbladder, the duodenum, colon, appendix, and the rectum. There are more internal organs than this. So you may come across some which we have not probably mentioned it here. So let's look at what we call the cells. Now we know the external body part, we know the internal body part. So the external, we have the hair, we can see our eyes, the head, hair, our legs and other things. Internally there are also some things going through us, but basically we are able to do whatever we're able to do because we're able to breathe, you're able to move, you are watching, you are listening to this lecture. All these things are called life processes. We are able to give birth and perform so many other things because we don't move because our hand is actually moving. We are moving because our body is made up of small structures that we call cells, and everything we do is done in that cell before it manifests. So if you're able to see, it is the cells that is actually permitting you or allowing you to see. If you're able to breathe, everything is done at the cellular level. Everything is done at the cellular level. So the basic unit of life is the cell. Life actually starts at the cellular level. We have the cell. I'll show you a picture of the cell. So the food we eat are used by the cells to produce energy. When you eat, the cells use the food to produce energy. When you breathe in, the air are used by the cells to burn food to produce energy. And body waste such as urine are also produced by the cells. Everything done in the body is done by the cells or are done at the cellular level. They are the smallest structures, functional structures in the body. So this is a diagram of a cell. So it means that you can see your skin, but actually your skin is made up of this. They are small particles. You cannot actually remove a cell. Say that, oh, I've removed a cell in my hand. They are very small, and they make up to make your skin. They make up to make your nail. They make up to make your eyes. They make up to make your hair. They come together to make your whole body parts. So you can see your body is made up of trillions of cells, because every composition of your body is made up of cells. So this is how a cell look like. We have internally we have the nucleus. The nucleus contains what we call the DNA. I won't bother you with much. You have the mitochondrion, which actually called the powerhouse. The nucleus is actually called the brain of the cell. Actually control most of the things. Control most of the things done by the cell. We have the lysosome, which they are the suicide bombers, I would say. We have Golgi bodies. We have the ribosomes. We have the I've mentioned mitochondria. I said the powerhouse. If I haven't, then mitochondria is the powerhouse. We have the cell membrane, which is the cover. It's a small membrane that covers or houses the things you see in the body. So the outer covering of the cell is the cell membrane. Then we have the cytoplasm too. Internal cells contain more than this, but these are some of the main organelles in a cell. Some of the main organelles you can find in a cell. So that's cells. But cells are very small. They are you can't even see them. So at times cells come together. When cells come together, they come together to perform one function or to do a particular thing. When cells come together to perform one function, we call them tissues. When they come together to perform one thing, we call them tissues. So if you take your skin for instance, let me use your skin for instance. If you take your skin for instance, you can say that your skin, the outer parts, you can see the outer parts of your skin. It is a group of different cells that have come together, and their job is to protect your skin. They have formed the outer covering of your skin, so we can call them tissue. That's a tissue. You can see that your nail is very hard, so we have cells that have come together to form this hard thing. So it's a tissue. Okay. So in the human body, there are 4 basic tissues that we have. We are saying that throughout the human body, we only have 4 tissues in it, and they perform different functions. We have the epithelial tissue, we have the muscle tissue, we have the nerve tissue, we have the connective tissue. The epithelial tissue, the muscle tissue, the nerve tissue, and we have the connective tissue. So we're going to take each one and try to understand it. Now these are cells that epithelial tissues are cells that have come together to cover the body surfaces. For their job is they come together to cover body surfaces. So your skin, your outer body, some cells have come together to cover your outer surface, and these type of tissues are called epithelial tissue. Cells have come together to form a tissue to cover the whole body, and they are called epithelial tissue. They also cover the outside parts of our bodies, including our skin, our nose, our hair, mouth, and other regions. So your skin is covered, your nose is covered. They don't cover only the outside, they also cover the inside. So both the outside and the inside. So the inside of the skin is covered, the outside of the skin is also covered. They also have said that they also cover, and also organs in the body are also covered by epithelial tissue. So your stomach is covered, both the outside and inside of your stomach is covered, your intestines, your lungs, and your other regions. Everything in your body is covered by epithelial tissue. That's their job. And they have special characteristics that helps them to do some of these things. So you scratch your skin against the surface, you don't just get hurt easily. But when you have a wound and you scratch it against the surface, for the least thing, your wound is bleeding, because the epithelial tissue covering that part of the skin have been removed. So you see how epithelial cells protect us a lot. So let's look at what we call the cells. Now we know the external body part, we know the internal body part. You know, the external, we have the hair, we can see our eyes, the head, hair, our legs, and other things. Internally, there are also some things going through us. But basically, we are able to do whatever we're able to do because we're able to breathe, we're able to move. So let's move the connective tissue. These are a group of cells that what they do is they anchor, connect, and support body tissues such as epithelial tissue, muscle tissue, and nerve tissue. So what they do is that they bring different tissues together. So if you look at your skin, I said that the outer part is epithelial tissue and the inner part is also epithelial tissue. In between this, there's a connective tissue there because you have blood vessels moving through it, your nerves moving through it, and this epithelial tissue bring them together. We also have things like bones are also connective tissues. Blood is also a connective tissue. If you take your blood, we have different types of cells. We have white blood cells, red blood cells in your blood, and what the blood does is that it houses all these things and transports them. So these are bones and blood are examples of epithelial tissue. So I have different, even fat, body fat is an epithelial tissue. The cartilage, the bone. So at the areola, a connective tissue. Adipose tissue is fat. Fibrous connective tissue. Blood. Osseous tissue, that's the bone. The hyaline, cartilage. Don't worry much about this, just to let you know. We also have the muscle tissue. This allows the body to move. The muscles allow the body to move by stretching and contracting. So you're able to move because your muscles are moving. Please, you are not moving because your bones are moving. You are moving because your muscles are allowing you to move. So that's the work of the muscle tissue. So we have the different we have the skeletal muscles, they allow bones to move. We have the cardiac muscle. So they are special cells in the heart that allow the heart to pump 24/7. You know, your heart never stop pumping from the time you are conceived, and it's one of those things that forms early, even immediately you're forming your mother's womb. Your heart starts within some few weeks and it starts pumping till you die. So it's one of the things that doesn't stop, and the cardiac muscles help it to pump. We also have the smooth muscle. They are found in internal body organs. So some are in the intestines or some are in the esophagus. That's where you eat something, the thing that connects your mouth to your stomach. So when you eat, after swallowing the food, the muscle tissue help it move so it drops into the stomach. Sorry, the smooth muscle tissue, yeah. So we have it in the bladder where it stores urine. We have in different parts of the body, different parts of the body, and their work is to make sure that they bring some they allow some movement within tissues, in organs which is inside our body. Organs inside our body. Muscle tissue, they are attached, skeletal tissue are attached to the bones, and they help bones to move so that you can also move. So let's look at what we call the cells. Now we know the external body part, we know the internal body part. So the external, we have the hair, we can see our eyes, the head, hair, our legs, and other things. Internally, there are also some things going through us. But basically, we are able to do whatever we're able to do because we're able to breathe, you're able to move, you are watching, you are listening to this lecture. All these things are called life processes. We are able to give birth and perform so many other things because we don't move because our hand is actually moving. We are moving because our body is made up of small structures that we call cells, and everything we do is done in that cell before it manifests. So if you're able to see, it is the cells that is actually permitting you or allowing you to see. If you're able to breathe, everything is done at the cellular level. Everything is done at the cellular level. So the basic unit of life is the cell. Life actually starts at the cellular level. We have the cell. I'll show you a picture of the cell. So the food we eat are used by the cells to produce energy. When you eat, the cells use. So we are done with tissues. Tissues, what they do is that so we are we've talked about group of cells becoming tissue. So we have epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscle tissue, and nerve tissue. If you don't understand anything, you can let me know. Organs. Different tissues also come together to form organs. So if you take the skin, we can say the skin is an organ. So the outer part and the inner part are epithelial tissue. Then we have fats in your skin, that is a connective tissue. We have other connective tissue in your skin. Then you have some blood vessels in there, and you have some nerves going through there, and you have some muscles too moving in there. So all these things come together to form your skin. So your skin is not just an epithelial tissue. You have epithelial tissue there that covers the outer and the inner. You have the nerve tissue. That's why when you touch something hot, you're able to see that this is hot, and you move your hand because there is nerve tissue in there. There are blood vessels going through there, and there are blood going through there. We have fats in there. All these things come together to make your skin. So we can say that your skin is an organ. So organs are made up of different tissues coming together. So an example of, we can also give another example is your heart. Is the heart. The heart also contains connective tissue covered by epithelial tissue. So the outside part of the heart is epithelial tissue. The inside part is the connective tissue. Connective tissue makes the bulk of it. Then we have some nerves also going through there. We have the blood also going through your heart and the rest. So they all come together to form your heart. Your heart is not made up of one cell or one tissue. So different tissue come together to form your heart. Another example is the kidney that sieves the blood for urine. Another example is the liver. Another example is the lungs. So these are examples of organs. So we talk about the heart. So the red part, which is the biggest part, is the myocardium, and that is the connective tissue. Mostly connective tissue make the bulk part of organs. So you can see this is the heart here, and we've cut a section of it to zoom it. We've zoomed or enlarged a section of it here, and so the red part. Then the inner line, the inner thin line is this is what we call the endocardium. It's a epithelial tissue, and the myocardium is a connective tissue. Then we have the epicardium. We have the epicardium there, or let's say pericardium is the outside part of the heart, and that is that's also epithelial tissue. And you have nerves going through that, nerves going through it. They also have blood vessels going through it. They also have muscles. There are also muscles in it. I talked about cardiac muscles. They also have muscles running through the heart. So all these things come together to form the heart. So this brings us to the end of the lecture. We've talked about the human body, external body parts and internal body parts. We got to understand that the human body is not only made up of what we see outside. It also is made up of things which are inside that we don't see. We also talked about cells, that life actually begins at the cells, and when cells come together they become tissues. And we talked about different types of tissues, which include the epithelial, we have the connective, we have the muscle and the nerve tissue. Then we talked about organs, and we said that when different tissues come together to form organs, we give examples of organs like kidney, lungs, heart, skin. So thank you. It's open for questions.